Welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV, a show to educate, entertain, and advocate on behalf of our aging adults. We are here to provide you the best information for your quality of life. Hi, my name is Ron Greenwald, and welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV. This is my business partner, Patty.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Great. This morning we wanted to address, we are thrilled to let you know that we are entering our second year of production on Senior Stay or Go TV, and we have brought over 50 segments to the public eye on a variety of topics. So today we wanted to kind of do a little bit of recap of our thrill of the past year and where we plan to go in for the future. Patty, so we've done over 50 segments. I mean, we can't go through every one of them, but
no, there's
give
too
me,
many.
You know, in your mind, what stands out over the past 12 months?
Well, for me, if I'm going to pick four that kind of stood out, although there's more than four truly that stood out, Go Go Grandparent with Justin Bogart was so much fun because he brought his grandma on and they were absolutely adorable. And I love the fact that he said his title was Executive Grandson. Then we had Paul Greenwood, our Deputy District Attorney, on, and Paul's always so awesome to listen to. I could listen to him for hours.
And his talk is on scams.
Right. For seniors.
Right. How to help the senior not get taken.
Right. So he's tons of knowledge and just awesome to listen to. And then Dr. James Brewer from UCSD, the Alzheimer's research that's being done there, and the amount of research that's being done and the continual need for people to sign up to be a part of the research. So I think it was really important to get that word out there that there's a lot being done. We're still probably 5 to 10 years away, but if people don't sign up to be part of the research, it's going to be that much longer and that much harder to actually try and find a cure. And then my other one that was really fun for me to do was the table setting for the holidays, to really make a senior feel comfortable at the dinner table so that they're not feeling like they can't pick up a cup because it's too delicate and too difficult for them to pick up, to have a mug in place, to have a glass with a stem so that it's easier for them to handle, to maybe serve them their meal instead of asking them to get up and get their meal, things like that. So I thought that was also just really helpful for people to understand just the little things that make a big difference.
And all of these episodes are on YouTube.
Yep.
They can go to seniorstayergo.com or greenwaldgurkey.com to watch their favorite segment and really get a recap of what's going on. So our mission from day one has been to be an advocate for our aging population, our active aging adults and our older adults.
Yep.
To be an advocate, to educate, to inform, and hopefully to entertain along the way. We've had some really amazing people. And we do want to do a shout out to our sponsors over the past 12 months. Front Porch has been phenomenal support for us. They have amazing senior communities and campuses here in San Diego.
Yep.
We've toured all of them, I think.
Yep.
And that includes they've just remodeled Wesley Palms, which is phenomenal. And they have a memory care
village, a little village within their community.
Casa de Manana, Frederica Manor, all beautiful.
Carlsbad by the Sea.
Carlsbad by the Sea. They have the 4 here in San Diego County, and then Belmont Village.
Yep.
They brought on just fabulous people to talk about their campus, their community.
And they helped us with the table setting.
They helped us with the table setting, and then who am I missing? Comfort Keepers.
Yep.
Comfort Keepers, and he brought on Dr. Bob Uslander. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that and your knowledge of what he's doing.
Well, he's got a very unique practice. So Dr. Uslander is a palliative care physician, but his practice is not your typical practice. So he hires and works with nutritionists, massage therapists, acupuncturists, anything that can make the end-of-life experience for the family and the person as pleasant as can possibly be. So he has a very unique niche that he's targeting and that he works with, and his work is really pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, again, his website it tells you a lot more about what he does. And along with that, we've had experts. And again, if you can go to all of these segments and learn a little bit more about them, we've had we've had Marianne, she is a doctor, I said. Marianne Dean, who's an attorney, specializes in estates, probates, and trusts, and also does litigation. Medicare specialist.
Social Security specialist. We've had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and some of our favorites have been the seniors themselves.
Absolutely.
Who at some point in time made that decision to move from their home to a senior community, and for various reasons. There's no one reason fits all. No,
but it's interesting how there is one response from all of them, and that usually is, I wish I had made the decision sooner. I waited I didn't maybe wait too long, but I could have made the decision sooner and had a more carefree life and more fun and time to do the things I want to do, instead of worrying about whether or not the roof is going to leak, or something's going to happen that I have to have repaired. So just the getting rid of all that responsibility.
What to do with all the stuff.
Yeah, that too.
So that leads to the question, Senior Stay or Go. What is Senior Stay or Go program?
The Senior Stay or Go program is a program that Ron and I have designed and implemented for our real estate clients. So if you have a loved one or yourself who's looking to right size, move to a senior community, move out of town to be closer to family, move into town to be closer to family, there's all kinds of reasons why someone's going to choose to move. What we will do is, with our Senior Stay or Go program, we will assist with that move, in that we will handle, especially if your loved ones are out of state, who can assist you. We will help dispose and disposition of all the personal property. We will coordinate an estate sale. We will coordinate any repairs that need to be done prior to putting the property on the market. And if you choose to stay in your home, we have professionals that we work with who can come in and do an assessment to make sure you're safe in your home, so that we make sure you have the proper lighting, that you have the proper floor coverings, that you don't have area rugs everywhere, that you have what we call balance bars, not grab bars anymore, in the appropriate locations, especially in the bathrooms, which is the #1 place people fall in and injure themselves. So we'll help with both ways. We'll help whether you stay to stay healthy and thrive, or whether you decide and choose to move on. We'll make that as easy as possible. And we work with senior move managers and estate planning, estate planners and estate salespeople. And we have a lot of professionals that we work with to make all that as smooth as possible for the family.
We have a large network of referrals and so we're very proud of that we have calls coming in almost on a daily basis now, of people asking us, who should I call if my concern for mom or dad is this or that?
Or we need this or that.
Or we need this or that, and that's what we want to do. We want to provide really good referrals to those that are in need of, where do I turn? Because that's always the biggest problem. Who do I call? Where do I turn to?
And where do I get a good referral that I can feel comfortable with, instead of looking on the internet and making 5 calls and still not really knowing who to choose?
Right, and so a lot of our programs have been with leading nonprofits here in San Diego, from Jewish Family Service, Salvation Army. We've had discussions on senior housing, which is going to be a bigger and bigger problem as the demographics. I mean, you and I
We're right
are there. We are the baby boom generation, and so part of our going into year 2 and hopefully year 3 and beyond is to really take the baby boomer generation into the next phase of life, whether health and security and things like that. So give us a little insight of where you'd like to go into that.
From the perspective of senior housing?
Yeah.
Well, 89% of the people we speak with want to remain in their own home. So how do you do that safely and still continue to thrive, instead of become a prisoner to your home? I think that's the main thing. I think the other thing that's very, very important is, once you stop driving, then where do you get the ability to have the transportation, and where do you get the ability to have the socialization that's needed? We are social beings. So for people to stay in their own home and cocoon is not really healthy. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it's not healthy. So there is a big movement taking place throughout the U.S. called the Villages, and the Villages was started
Beacon Hill.
at Beacon Hill in Boston about, I want to say, at least 20 years ago. And the concept is that you remain in your own home, but the village provides an opportunity and a network for you to either have the transportation service, have the socialization ability, also have vetted vendors that you can feel comfortable having come in your home without worrying about them, you know, charging you triple just because you're a senior. So that movement is huge, and it's really, really beginning to take hold across the country. Here in California, there are people that are actually going to Sacramento to speak with our lawmakers and make them aware of what's out there to try and get some grant money and some funding to make this work, because some villages are just by membership, but that's a little difficult. So if you have some funding or grant money or something that is also supporting it, it will help it thrive a whole lot better.
I know you're getting more and more involved with that right here in North County, San Diego.
Correct.
So if you have any questions on Patty's the go-to person for that. So we're looking forward to year 2. We have a lot of great guests coming lined up all the way through the end of the year. And I know it's maybe a little premature, but Alzheimer's San Diego Walk is October 21st in Balboa Park. And Patty and I have teamed with the Professional Fiduciaries Association of California and the San Diego County Bar Association. I'm going to say that. Hopefully, I think it's happened. So there it is. It's on viral now. And we're very excited about that. If you want more information about that, please contact us. We're going to raise a lot of money for Alzheimer's San Diego come October, so we're very excited about that. Yep. And you'll be learning more and more about that with each episode throughout 2017. I want to thank everybody for their support over the last year. It's just been a tremendous learning experience for both Patty and I. We are thrilled with the people we've met. We are going to be thrilled with the people we're going to meet. And we want to thank the entire staff here of Senior Stay or Go for just being so supportive of everything we do and getting us through the first year, and we're very excited about year number 2. So stay tuned for more Senior Stay or Go TV.
Welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV. Today our guest is Jamie Tyrone. She is the founder of BABES, which is Beating Alzheimer's by Embracing Science. So thank you so much for being here today with us, and we look forward to learning more about BABES.
Okay.
Jamie, you have a very unique story, and we really want the people to understand why you're here and why you founded this 501c3.
Thank you. I actually found out that I have a 91% lifetime risk genetically for getting Alzheimer's disease. I had witnessed my great-grandmother, grandmother, 2 great-uncles, and my father all pass with Alzheimer's disease. So it was quite shocking news. There was no genetic counseling involved, and I actually went into a very dark moment of my life.
Well, rightfully so.
So after 3 years of living this way, I decided I needed to figure this out and get some help. You know, because there was a point in time that I'm like, do I want to be here to take, you know, for my family to have to take care of me? So I went into therapy, and I was diagnosed with PTSD from the trauma and the lack of communication, the lack of support. Only 2% of the population worldwide have this genetic status. So through the whole therapeutic process, I had a choice to make. Do I take the dark road and no longer be here possibly? Or do I take the bright road and make some meaning out of it? So as part of that process, I decided that we need to raise funds not only for research, but also for the awareness of the importance of research and what it means. So that's how BABES was born. And people might ask, why BABES? So 2 out of 3 victims are women. Women, 75 to 80% are caregivers for women. And as I'm driving down the road, trying to figure out what I should name this 501c3, and thinking about all the women in my life that have been so supportive and what babes they are to me, all of a sudden it just came into my head. Beating Alzheimer's by embracing science, capturing this energy of women in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. So
It's a great story. It's a very
Awesome
empowering story.
So that's basically how you got so interested in the whole research environment, was because of your findings.
yes, exactly.
And have you been a participant yourself? Is it something that you can, from experience, tell someone if you're thinking about it, here's what to anticipate, here's where to go, here's how to sign up, all those good questions that someone's going to have?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for asking. I am what my family and myself refer to as a lab rat, and which is a research participant. I actually am involved in a study. I was too young at the time to participate in any studies here in San Diego, but there is an entity called the Banner Alzheimer's Institute, and they're in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was able to participate in one of their studies. It's a longitudinal study, which means it's basically over a long period of time, in which they look at the biomarkers in the brain, which is the plaques. They also take a look at your genetic status. I go every 2 years where they do the scanning and they do the cognitive testing. And I have to tell you, I feel like a rock star when I go there, because everyone's so appreciative of what a research participant has to offer. And so hopefully by sharing my story, that I will help demystify research and the contributions that we can make. Here in San Diego, we are a hotbed of research. And so there are many opportunities for those who are diagnosed and those who are not diagnosed that can participate in research. One of the entities, if I can share that, is the Shiley Marcos Alzheimer's Disease Research Center.
Dr. Brewer?
Dr. Brewer, he's,
Great
I
guy.
can't tell you how many researchers I've met and how wonderful, and he's just a step above. He is just,
He's determined.
he is so determined and
Passionate and determined.
passionate.
Kudos to Dr. Brewer if you're watching.
Absolutely. Anyway, so they have research studies that people in San Diego can definitely participate in. And again, you don't have to necessarily have a diagnosis with Alzheimer's disease. There is information, I believe, at the bottom of the screen that will give you contact information to give them a call. They have been very welcoming to me when I found out my genetic status. After 3 years of not knowing where to go and what to do, I basically was networked into them. And the woman that was in charge at the time was Mary Sunsmo. And she looked at me and she said, "No matter what, you will have a home with us."
Oh.
So it really was part and parcel to helping me decide to go ahead and found Babes.
And how has your family embraced this? I mean, it's just an amazing story that I really would like to know more about the family dynamics, because I think that's important for people to understand for two reasons. One is overcoming objections is like in sales, you know, you overcome objections. Well, I understand, but however, you know, so you must have go through that every time when you're trying to recruit people into research. They go, "It's not for me, it's not for me. I understand it's not for you, however, this is what it," I mean, I would like to know more about that.
The first statement that I think it probably reflects the best that one can answer that question. And the answer is that the first person that's cured of this disease will be a research participant. So the fact that being a participant can be altruistic in the sense that we want to make sure the next generation is not affected by this disease, and caregiving would longer, you know, will be a distant past. But the selfish part of it and the smart part of it is that you will be closest to the cure. And so it's kind of a smart decision to make.
And your family, how have they?
So my family, at first, before I went into therapy, I drove them crazy. And just as much as I was tortured, boy, my poor husband, he's a saint, because I was torturing him tremendously. My mother at the beginning said, I wish you would have never known, because I see how much you're going through. And yet now that I've gotten past this, my family has been nothing but supportive. They're my biggest cheerleaders. And so to me, if you want to know your genetic status, the reason is to steer yourself into research. And you don't have to know your genetic status. You can do that without knowing. So it's been a very rewarding thing, and for my family too, to see how this has unfolded.
So go ahead.
So the Banner research that's taking place in Arizona, do they have an age limit? Because the research here with Dr. Brewer has an age limit of 65 right now. So they had to have some place to begin and end. Because when he was on our program, and I said, you know, 50-year-olds are diagnosed. Why 65? And he said, you know, like with any research, you have to make a point of a starting point and a finish point. And so that's the point where we thought we could have the most impact. Although he did say that as they do more research, realizing that, you know, 10 to 20 years before it's actually recognized may be the time they really need to be involved.
And that is extremely true. And I'm not a researcher, but I'm only confirming what Dr. Brewer has to say. But where they have learned this in the past is because of these longitudinal studies, that you can join these studies sooner, and that they're looking at the changes in the brain 20 years beforehand. And what they found is that you are having these changes. So I think you'll find that in the future, as we move forward, there are going to be studies that are going to be designed to include a younger population. I do know there's one that Banner Alzheimer's Institute is starting, where it's starting younger. And they're going to be looking at, again, the brain, and those who are at high risk, and they're going to be starting to look at them earlier. So I think you're going to see a transition in, like Dr. Brewer says, in the research. And so it would be nice to get younger people involved, because it's so important that we lend ourselves to research, because we don't want our children to have to live with this disease.
I mean, do you see yourself, I mean, Babes as more of a counselor? I mean, like, if obviously if a daughter, granddaughter, son, grandson calls you and says, I really need you to come out and talk to mom or grandma, I'm concerned. Is that something you would voluntarily do, or is that part of the program? Is that part of what
It's not necessarily part of the program, because our mission is assisting in research.
Okay.
Of course, now the recruitment is part of assisting in research. But I've had many phone calls where people have said, you know, my mom was just diagnosed, what do we do? And then, you know, you can refer them out. There's Alzheimer's Association, there's All San Diego that can be referred to. But sometimes it's just that voice of, you're not alone. And that I've experienced it, there are a lot of people that have experienced it, and what can you do to prepare yourself for it? I've also had people call me and say, do I want to get tested? Do I want to know my genetic status? And that's a personal decision to make. But what I recommend is that you kind of get your house in order, because once the cat's out of the bag, there are things to be considerate of. One is discrimination, possibly through long-term care insurance or life insurance. Everybody's pretty much covered by the GINA Act, which protects you from an employment standing. Regarding your genetic status.
Does this impact driving?
Pardon me?
Driving?
Well, help me understand what the question.
You're not. You haven't been impacted by driving.
Oh, no, no, no.
Like, they're not going to take your driver's license away.
Oh, no, no, no. That actually is incumbent upon the physician who diagnosed you. And if you do get a diagnosis that affects your cognition and would impair your driving, then actually the physician is legally required to report it to the DMV.
But in your situation, you have the propensity to get it. You haven't been diagnosed with
Correct.
it, so therefore your driver's license has not been revoked.
Absolutely.
Okay, just that, I want to make that clear so anybody who has a concern about that.
No, the only problem would be my driving, and it'd be my fault because I'm not abiding the signs or anything like that. But no, I am not affected by that. I have not shown any signs of dementia or MCI, which is the mild cognitive impairment, which is a precursor, can be a precursor to Alzheimer's disease. So far, so good. I have made some healthy lifestyle changes by trying to eat better, although my glass of wine every night, I'm not going to give that up.
Now even coffee is supposed to be positive. So my Starbucks I'm on. I'm still in.
So I've embarked on a exercise routine a few weeks ago that I'm actually paying for.
And embracing.
And embracing, exactly. But it's well worth it. I actually feel so much better. Just mentally, I feel clearer. That it's amazing. And there have been studies that have shown, small studies.
I'm a perfect example of if I don't move, look out.
Oh, exactly.
Believe me, I can attest to that one.
So, yeah, so there are things that you can do. And you don't have to know your genetic status to do these things. I mean, you can get your life insurance, you can get your long-term care insurance, by which I really recommend people to do, even in your 30s and 40s, because you don't know what's going to happen down the line. But it would be more expensive if you wait till you're older.
Your trust, plus your financial.
Absolutely.
The whole house needs to be in order.
Absolutely.
Powers of attorneys, health care directives, financial directives. I mean, please listen to what this woman is saying.
Seriously, because I now know my genetic status, so I have to disclose that. So if someone were to ask me, and at some point in time, this probably will happen, that long-term care insurance or life insurance, if someone asks me, I have to disclose that. And even though I'm not showing any signs, but because I'm at a high risk, there is that possibility. So get everything taken care of.
So tell us a little bit about your Power of 10 campaign.
So our Power of 10 campaign is reflective of our original fundraising model. And that is, instead of relying on one woman or one donor to give $1 million, which would be wonderful, I mean, those are the angel donors, but how do we get 1 million women to give $10? And so that's when we started our campaign of Power of 10, the power of $10, the power of 10 women telling another 10 women, and how the multiplication of 10 is very, very powerful. And so our new campaign, and I believe we have a URL to our webpage, that for every donation that we will give you as our gift a Power of 10 necklace. And as you can see, they're really nice.
Even if you must say so yourself.
Exactly. So, and so that'll be our gift. And so what that does officially, as a babe, you're now a 10 babe. So you are number 10 babe. So so we felt that this would be a fun campaign, an exciting campaign, and the whole personality of our organization is about how do we women come together and support each other through this horrible disease, but bask in the camaraderie, enjoy the process even though it's difficult. And I guess that's probably not the best word to say enjoy, but find a little bit of levity and support. Exactly. And if it means, you know, getting together 10 girlfriends and going out for a girls' night, it's amazing what 10 girls at girls' night can accomplish. Yeah. So those things. And then the caregivers not feel guilty about, you know, leaving their loved one for an hour or two, because they're doing something productive. They're not only taking care of themselves. That's not selfish at all, but they're also doing it with women who understand, and you can enjoy along the way.
Jamie, our time has run out today. We've only touched the surface on what is happening now and what's going to happen over the next 5, 10, 20 years. And you are a remarkable story. I congratulate you for taking the high road and taking the positive road. And really, you are changing lives for the better. And that's not too many people can say that every day. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share about Babes and what we are about, and about research and the fulfillment that you can get by participating in research. And forever, I'm grateful for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for more Senior Stay or Go TV.
Welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV. Today we have two wonderful guests. We have Catherine Holt and her mom, Lois Knowlton. They are the founder and owners and co-owners of the Poway Adult Day Healthcare Center and friends of the Poway Adult Day Healthcare Center. So thank you so much for being here today. we'd love to learn more about your center.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you both for being here. We're just thrilled to have you here because, like you said, the best kept secret in San Diego County, and that's a mouthful, the Poway Adult Health Day Health.
Yes, yes.
So tell us a little bit about how long have you been in existence and how long have you been in this field and how did you get into this field?
Sure. Well, Poway Adult Day Healthcare Center will be 15 years old this June 27th. My first career was I was an elementary school teacher. I graduated in 1984 with my teaching credential and never would have dreamed that I would do anything other than teach elementary age children for my entire career. But in about 15 years into my teaching career, my grandmother, Faye, in her 90s, had a very bad fall where she broke her leg and ended up needing skilled nursing care. Through that life experience, the doctors told our family, your mother will probably, and grandma, will never be able to walk again. She'll probably be in a wheelchair for the rest of...
That's my mother.
Your mom.
Yes.
And I had just gotten a position at I had been a long time school teacher in community college, and I had just gotten a position as a dean at Grossmont College of Business and Professional Studies, and so usually the daughter is the one that takes care of the mom, but in my case I thought, here's my capstone career job and I can't take it, and so fortunately my daughter stepped in.
Well, that's nice to do. I'm sorry, go ahead, continue.
Sure. So Grandma, fortunately, she proved the doctor wrong, or the orthopedic surgeon. She was very determined and feisty, spirited lady, and she, after about 6 months of intensive rehab therapy in a skilled nursing facility, she was able to walk again with a walker.
Did this all take place in Poway?
Actually in La Mesa at the time.
La Mesa.
My mom and dad live in La Mesa, and Grandma lived in La Mesa for many, many years. And but through this experience, when I would visit Grandma in the nursing home, she was always saying, when am I getting out of here? When am I going home? And really pulled on our heartstrings, and we decided to take a leap of faith and see if we could somehow make it work to bring Grandma to live with us, my husband and myself, in our home in Ramona at the time. And our oldest and only daughter at the time was 2 years old then. And so I thought, well, maybe I would take a leave of absence from teaching and we could bring Grandma into our home and I would stay home and take care of Caitlin and Grandma. The people in the nursing home actually were very surprised when we said we wanted to try this, and they even were discouraging, saying that, you know, most families like yourself that want to bring their loved one out of the nursing home and back home end up returning in 2 or 3 months due to the high burnout level. And so, but I was determined. I thought maybe we'll be the exception. We will be the exception. And so we got Grandma moved into our home, and lo and behold, within about 2 months, I started realizing that she needed more than just me for her sole companionship and stimulation and entertainment, socialization. I myself needed to be able to know I could run to the grocery store and not come back and find she'd had a fall. And so I started calling around in the community, and I thought, well, I'll call the senior center. You know, maybe I could take Grandma there a couple days a week and she can participate in activities and get a little more socialization. And when I explained my grandmother's condition, that, you know, she still very much enjoys being around people, but she does have some memory loss now. She does need some assistance in the restroom, and she is a fall risk. She can walk with a walker, but, you know, you want to be right next to her. The senior center said, well, you'd be more than welcome to bring her here, but you would have to stay with her or send her.
The minute you said fall risk, they
yes,
go,
yes, or send her with a caregiver. But thankfully, they told me, they said, you should check, call the Ramona Adult Day Healthcare Center. So I had never heard of such a program, never knew this model of care existed. The people in the nursing home, when the discharge planning process, they did not include a referral or a recommendation to look into your community and see what other program, or if there's an adult day program. So once we found that program, it was life-changing. Grandma was enrolled. She attended almost 5 days a week for the last 4 years of her life, and it gave her
the life of the party.
She
was. She's like you two.
The
apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Am I gathering?
I do think we have some strong women in our family. Definitely. But Grandma looked forward to going to the center. She, even on the weekend when the center was closed, would sometimes say to me midday, "Isn't the bus coming to pick me up today?" And I'd say, "Oh, not today, but Monday, Grandma." But it was life-changing. And so when we, that was truly the impetus for my going into this field. We moved to Scripps Ranch in the fall of '98. Grandma was still with us. I assumed, leaving a rural area and going to a more urban area like Poway, that surely there'd be another adult day program to transfer her into. And when we arrived here, I found there was nothing. That the closest center was in Escondido, and then the one in Ramona. And
we've got all the geography covered from La Mesa to Ramona.
Yes. And so it was, sadly, in that last 6 months, Grandma passed away 6 months after we made the move, but in that last 6 months we had gone full circle in the caregiving experience, where we lost that really valuable support system that the adult day program provided. It not only enhanced her quality of life, but it also, for me as her primary caregiver, was vital because I eventually was able to return to teaching once Grandma was set up and on a regular schedule at the day program. So it was that sparked my desire to bring a program into the community where I now live.
So what do you think is the most important thing for people to know about the adult day?
Yeah, well, we are the most comprehensive and affordable long-term care option that exists for families today on the whole spectrum. Adult day services, in comparison to home care, provide, and I love home care. We had to utilize home care as a supplement to Grandma attending the day center. But under our roof, for about $17 to $20 an hour, dependent on the services and the program that one of our clients is enrolled in, they're being provided with breakfast, lunch, a full day of therapeutic activities. We have nurses on staff that are checking blood sugar levels, administering medications, checking blood pressures. We have social workers that are providing vital support not only to our client but to their caregivers. Care management, case management are terms that you're probably familiar with. That's all happening under one roof. It's not just a babysitting service where some people think, oh, okay, well, are people just sort of sitting there in their chair dozing off and, in front of a TV? There is no TV. It's like school. We have a daily schedule of activities. Yes.
No, and I am teaching.
I know.
I teach English as a second language 2 days a week to about 25.
At the center?
At the center as a volunteer.
In fact, today I'm missing my class.
And Miss Lois is very, very popular amongst her English students and or students that are whose first language is not English. And when Mom's not there, they'll say, "Is Mom okay? Where's Mom? Is Miss Lois okay?" So I know they're all wondering.
And then on Friday, my husband and I do a sing-along. I play the piano and he sings.
My gosh.
And we've been doing this for about 14 years at a time.
Fun.
Yeah. It's really special. We become like an extension of the home environment for our families, and I can't tell you how many times families had said, "Oh my gosh, if I'd known of this sooner, I would have had my dad here 2 or 3 years ago,"
And I know we have a lot to cover, so I'm going to move on. I'm just going to go in terms of you doing grant. I know you charge a certain fee, and we're going to get into that, but I like to let the audience know that there is an opportunity, that this is something that they can contribute to. Can you want to tell us about the nonprofit arm?
Right. Well, and this is I guess I'm sort of a fundraiser then in a sense, although the Friends is to help with a lot of services, including transportation. And when I was at Grossmont College, I got really a lot into in grants writing. And so we've had grants from Sandag and from the County of San Diego, and a number, even Walmart, and they have, you know, because they're
Good.
interested in the programs. And so it is the supplement. I mean, we just finished a program called TransMed, where in addition to the coming to and from the center, we would take them to doctor's appointments and to getting their pharmaceutical things that relieve the family of having to do all these kind of errand sort of things. And then we do the usual, you know, having a Christmas or a holiday newsletter goes out and telling them how much we can use this to supplement to make this program a better one. And when you get a contribution to Friends of Adult Day Healthcare Center, it's tax deductible. And so we haven't done it broadly. I mean, we haven't gone on TV about it, but
now we have.
We'll have your phone number scrolling along the bottom here.
That'd be just wonderful.
That phone's going to ring off the hook.
That's right.
Because
we're looking forward to
even you know, the smaller donations, you know, that it is a feeling of reward that you are helping, and a lot of the people that have been donors have been the recipients of adult daycare services themselves, and so it's where I feel like in my third career, I guess, that this is what my purpose is to help enhance this program that we believe in so very much.
Yeah. Yeah, the Friends helps us to bring in additional activities like the chair yoga and special music therapy programs, helps us to be able to make a contribution to our Humane Society volunteers and pet therapy volunteers. So
and
it's
three of the buses were from Caltrans
yeah,
that I wrote the grant for.
Yeah, 3 of our wheelchair lift equipped buses, which are vital to our operation, are grant funded through the Friends.
So. Hey, you want to?
So can you give us an example of a typical family at the Poway Day Health Care Center that, say, I took care of my parents from a distance, didn't have this option, would have loved this option, to be totally honest, but what could someone expect if they brought their loved one to the center?
Sure. Our typical new person coming into the program is usually an adult child or a spouse who is recognizing that their loved one is no longer really able to be safe on their own at home during the day alone. And that caregiver is either working full-time or just needing respite. One of our very early family members that was a lovely husband and wife who are no longer alive, but Joe Butler was a board member of ours many years. He was a husband that reached out to us and said, my wife has been newly diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She's in the early stages, and you know, I would love to still be able to go and golf a couple days a week, which he was an avid golfer, and he had looked at several different options before he came to us, and eventually, and so Ginger started attending 2 days a week. As her dementia progressed, she ended up going up to 5 days a week, but we were the support system that enabled Joe and Ginger to continue living together and being together in their own home almost right up until the time that she passed away. We also have the scenarios of a daughter, you know, or son that's working full-time, and just recently we had a situation where we actually had 2 people that were literally attending the center, enjoying life, participating in the activities as recently as last week, who we got the news yesterday that they both passed away in their sleep over the weekend. So to be able to be a part of someone's life in those last months or years, and to know that we were able to not only help their caregiver, but to help that person experience the best possible quality of life they could, as close to the end as possible, is really a powerful, very rewarding feeling. I wish that more people had this option available to them. We absolutely extend the amount of time that people can continue to live in their home environment. And then we've also had situations where many times we will be that bridge, that intermediary program that enables a family to keep mom or dad or their husband or wife at home for another 2, 3, 4 years. And then they may get to the point where they realize, okay, I really do now need that 24-hour level of care. I've had families call me later and say, you know, the adjustment for my mom going into the 24-hour care facility was made so much easier by the fact that she was already in the routine of getting up and going to another place, being with a group of people, making friendships,
Keeping that
and
socialization going.
that we all, it's such a basic human need
We're
to
social
feel.
beings,
We're
right?
social beings, so such a basic fundamental human need to be part of a community and to feel that we still matter and that there are people. Every day when our clients start arriving, I mean, it's a happy place. People are coming in with smiles. The staff is out there at the bus. Good morning, Jean. How are you today? I'm so glad to see you. Oh, look at you. That's such a cute dress you have on. Or, you know, and then people leave in the afternoon with the same. Just, it's all smiles. They're happy.
Thank you. I'm going to have to.
You're gonna have.
We've only touched the surface, and so you're going to have to get a hold of both Catherine and Lois.
Yes,
Call you,
yeah.
get a hold of you, because we could talk about this
Forever.
forever. It's an amazing program. For those who've never even heard of the town of Poway, it's off the 15 corridor in North County, San Diego. Catherine, Lois, thank you so much for coming out today. This has been an honor and a privilege that Patty and I are thrilled at what you're doing, and we hope we can only support you more.
Thank you so much.
And we want you to stay tuned for more Senior Stay or Go TV.
Welcome to Senior Stay or Go TV. Today our two guests are David and Trudy. Thank you so much for joining us today. David and Trudy recently moved to a senior community, and they're going to tell us a little bit about how they made the decision to get there. And David, I think we'd like to start with what your motto is.
My motto is happy, healthy, and have fun.
And Trudy, what's your motto?
To thine own self be true, thou canst then be false to any man.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today.
We thank you for being here. We met about a year and a half ago, maybe?
Been that long?
Oh, I hope
Time flies when you're having fun.
So we want to go into the background of what factors went through both of your minds and what kind of preempted the move to a senior community, the Remington here in North County. And Trudy, we'll start with you. What factors went into that decision-making process?
Well, some of our friends moved away. A lot of our friends moved away. We only had a couple left. And also, we needed some other activities, and we wanted to be more social. And things were getting tough to take care of the house, things like that.
Okay. David, what was the background for you to make this thought process?
It was really kind of more easy for me than hers, because it meant that if we moved to the Remington, that she wouldn't have to cook, and I wouldn't have to do the chores around the house, make sure the gardener is there, and clean up in the kitchen every night. This is much more fun, and somebody else does it for us, so it's much more fun for us to have a more gentle life.
Also, to have our kids not have to worry about selling the house. We just leave everything, and then we took care of it, and then they don't have to.
And given before you made that decision, I mean, you lived in Rancho Bernardo, you know, which is up in the 15 corridor, and how many communities did you look at before you decided to make the Remington your new home?
Oh,
About 7.
yeah.
So it was a process. It wasn't
was,
something
yes.
you decided, oh, we're going to do this and tomorrow you
No,
moved.
actually,
It's
we
a
just
process.
started looking just in case. And then we got more positive about it.
And what were those factors over the other 6 that you looked at?
Well, had a very nice, large apartment, and the food was good. I had been in Remington before, and we knew about the food. And it was close to where we lived, so we didn't have to change anything. We had the same groceries, the same banks, everything.
David?
I'd have to agree with everything she said, and one thing we should mention is that our social life was getting too slow, and we're at a time of life now where we need activities to keep us awake. And so after we lost a number of friends who either passed away or moved away, we decided that it is probably a better time now than to wait until we have to do it, because after we made the rounds of the close to 7 facilities that we went, some of them had a 2 or 3 year wait. Well, we didn't know what our health would be in any one day, and so we decided it better to make the move before we have to and can choose the one we want, and we thought that was a better for the 2 of us. And as she also mentioned, then the kids don't have to worry about selling the house and all the other things that are normal after a person passes away.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So you mentioned you needed more activities. So what activities have you incorporated into your daily routine now that you're living at the Remington that you weren't able to do when you were at home in your own home?
Well, there are exercises, both they call it chair exercises. There's pool exercises. We play bridge and rummikub with a number of the people. There are trips that we take on a bus. And they cornered me for a job, and I became the food chairman the first week I was there. And that's going to lead to my being president of the Residents Association comes July 1st. So I'm keeping busy going to meetings and meeting with staff half the time to take the customers' complaints or things they do like and bring it to management. And that's my job.
So you're the spokesperson for everybody in the community to get back to management to make sure everybody's happy.
That's the general idea. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Trudy, does that surprise you that he...
Not at all. No, no.
Well, you have a business background.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that, and so that's why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, I moved here in 1980 from Chicago, sold my previous business, which was a chain of ladies' specialty stores in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And then I came here. I wanted to take a job because I was still only 59 years old. And everybody says, you're too old, we can't teach an old dog new tricks. So to make a long story short, I started a jobbing business, and that led to the adhesive business, and moved from one phase to another, getting more and more adhesives for the different industries. And then I started traveling up and down California and some out of the state places to see who would be interested in one of the many adhesives that I sold for their assembly lines in the factories. And that was interesting because every place you went was a different product that needed a different adhesive, so it was a challenge every day, same as I used to have in the ready-to-wear business, where women's lengths would go up or down, their colors changed, their fabric would change, and I like to have fun, and that's what I do.
And Trudy, what have you added to your daily activities?
Well, they have all kinds of programs where people come and talk about different subjects. The Continuing Education Center has classes in the next building that we can go to, and join the book club. I already was in a book club outside, so now I have 2 books to read.
That keeps you busy.
Yes.
But you're also involved in activities outside the Remington.
Yes,
I'm glad to share.
Yeah, I'm treasurer for Brandeis National Committee, our entrepreneurial branch.
What does that entail? I mean, you're counting the money, or is there...
Well, whenever we have an event, I have to collect the checks and account for them and send reports to the National Committee. They're very strict about it.
And these two folks are the most computer savvy folks that I know that are over 60. I'm not going to ask your age, Trudy, but if it's okay, may I ask your age, David?
I'm 95.
95 years young, and the president of the Remington, what association? Or,
Residents Association.
Residents
But
Association.
not till July 1st.
July 1st.
I have a little rest in between.
And what is that, a 2-year term, or have they given you
1 year.
1 year?
But you could maybe stay on if people will nominate you. We'll see.
I have a feeling it'll be more than 1 year. So, given the act of moving, which is never easy, no matter how hard you try to make it easy, it's always kind of a little bit of a hassle. But you worked with a senior move manager, and you worked with us to get your home sold. So, what was it that sent you in the direction of the senior move manager? Had you heard about how they worked? Had you been referred to Sandy? How did that all happen for you?
We've heard about other people having moved and utilizing that. And you recommended one, which turned out to be very wonderful. They had a floor plan of the apartment that we moved to. They tagged everything and let us know where we wanted to put it. And they sorted and packed and unpacked, installed the computers and the TV, hung the pictures. So when we walked in at the end of the day, it was as if we'd already lived there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great feeling, isn't it? Mm-hmm. My understanding is she'll even put everything in your medicine cabinet exactly the way it was in your home. So you don't have to go looking for something and wondering whose home you're in and where they hid it.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Well,
it's
that's
beautiful.
not 100% true. There's a couple little things were not in the right place, so we had to make some minor changes. But
very
basically,
minor.
as Trudy said, it was fantastic.
Great.
We didn't have to do hardly anything except tell them, do this, put this here, put this here, put this here, and it was over, and we're sure glad that we used their service and your service.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you.
Awesome.
So I want to get into a little bit more, another subject. You two. How long have you been together, and how did you meet?
You do that, Trudy.
Well, we had both been widowed. I was a widow for 8 years. His was a little less. And went to a
Singles group.
Singles group, right. And I spotted him. He knew one of the women that I was friends with, so that made it easy. We started, he lived in Carmel Mountain, and my friend lived in Rancho Bernardo, and they had known each other before. So they decided to go to the next meeting together, and my friend asked if I wanted to come, and I did, and that's how we met.
So was your friend set you up, or was she after him?
Well, I wouldn't say set me up, but well,
A little bit. Just with an invitation.
And where were you living at the time?
I was in Rancho Bernardo too.
You were in Rancho Bernardo as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
I was in a condo.
And David, what did you think? Was it love at first sight, or how hard did you have to work on Trudy?
No, I was a recent widower, and Trudy asked me in the car when we had conversation going back and forth to the meetings what I'd like to do. I was still working at that time, and I said, but I'd like to do something in the evening or on the weekend. And she said, well, the Brown Center, Senior Center in San Diego, Rancho Bernardo area actually, has bridge lessons. Do you play bridge? I said, oh, I used to play bridge, not lately, and I'd love to do it again. And so we spent a whole year going separately to bridge lessons. And then one day she said, I have a friend that plays bridge, and would you be my partner if we go to their house and play bridge? And I said, sure, that'd be fun. So we did that for a couple evenings. And then one night or whatever it was, Trudy says, we have to cancel tonight because for some reason they can't play. So I said, well, we already made a time element tonight. Let's go out for dinner. And that's our first date. And that led to where we are today.
And how long? You've been married?
12 years.
12 years.
12
Wow,
years.
that's awesome. So if someone came to you and said, you know, I'm really torn, I'm trying to make a decision, do I stay in my home, do I move to a senior community, what are the advantages, disadvantages, what should I be thinking about, should I really even be thinking about it, or should I just do it? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, talk to us and talk to anybody else who's done it, and just make sure that you don't wait until you have to go, and look around and see what the possibilities are.
What about you, David?
We just had a person move into Remington, and in the mailroom was a picture of the man. And we had recently just met a woman with the same last name. And I couldn't figure out what was happening, because when they put a picture up, that means the person is deceased when they put a picture up. So I went to the concierge and said, what happened? Well, they just moved in, and he was in hospice, and he just passed away. So it was a good thing that she already moved in, because now she was all set and
Not alone.
not alone, and that was the important thing. So I thought that was a wonderful thing there. And of the people there, I would say we don't know a lot of names, but we can go into the dining room or on the hallways and say hi, 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 and you know so many people, and we have dinner every night with a different couple.
And
or
us.
a couple singles people, and you. And it's just a wonderful place. Everybody's so friendly that we don't have time for anything else anymore. We're busy doing, we don't know what we're doing all the time, but we're busy doing something all the time. Would you say that, Trudy?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well, you two are two of our favorite people here in San Diego, and Patty and I, it's been a joy to get to know you and allowing us to help you make that transition from your home to the Remington, and we're so glad to see that you're both thriving there, and we just wish you nothing but the best every day of your lives. So thank you so much for being here, and we want you to stay tuned for more Senior Stay or Go TV.